What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Good evening, everybody, and happy Gratitude Week. Happy Thanksgiving. I'm Love Coach Scott Katamas, and tonight is a really special evening. It is our just before Thanksgiving show, and of course, the theme is gratitude, and we have so much to be grateful for. He's back. Our beloved house musical artist successfully made it all the way to Peru and back. And so Omashar is with us, and he's going to share a little bit about his adventures and experiences. And we have a very special co-host. Usually I don't have a co-host on Wednesday night, but the wonderful Tangela is blessing us with her presence and bringing all the gratitude that she brings. She is one of the most happy, amazing, grateful human beings that I know. So it's great to have Tangela with us. And she brought along with her two of her favorite people, and the two of our favorite people as well. It's AJ and Thomas, those wonderful guides, those wonderful gentlemen who together collectively channel. And the guides are going to take questions from you. So think about what your questions are for the guides. And we're going to have two rounds. They actually have agreed to stay longer. So they're going to be on earlier in the show and on again later in the show. We're also going to meet a new friend, Mary Cromwell, who has a very beautiful connection to Mother Earth Gaia, and is also doing a very important project, which is going to be our fundraising event tonight, and we'll learn all about that. And Heather Shea is going to make a quick appearance to let us know all about what she's going to be doing on Saturday night. This Saturday night, she's going to do readings, psychic readings of our pets, starting with Jasmine Bear, no doubt. But then any of you who want to have a reading for your pet, we want to let you know about that. And we'll talk a little bit about that during the Global Peace Tribe announcements. So it's a really, really fun show. We've got a lot planned. And with no further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Miss Gratitude, Tangela.
Thanks, Scott, and thank you, everyone. Always amazing to be here with our Global Peace Tribe community, Soul Search community, the Awakening World community. It's such an amazing experience just to feel the connection as everyone gathers together here. We're all connected in the quantum field, and just being able to celebrate during this time, although there might be a lot of chaos and difference and things happening outside in the world around us, when we come together like this in community, it's such an amazing experience because we're bringing forth the energy of the world that we know we are creating together. And so that's so powerful. And I'm really grateful to be here with all of you guys to celebrate Thanksgiving and the growing community with Soul Search, with the Awakening World, with the Global Peace Tribe, and the connections that we all have together, and that we come together to really uplift one another, uplift humanity, and raise the vibration. And we do that just by being here. We don't have to do anything else, just by being here and being us. And that's what's so beautiful about it. And I'm just so grateful to see all of your smiling faces and feel everyone's beautiful hearts and energies. And I'm really grateful to have AJ and Tom with me here tonight as well, because that's going to be a lot of fun as we really dive into the energies of gratitude, because gratitude for me is the pathway to happiness. So happy to be
Beautiful.
with all of you. Thank you guys, and happy Thanksgiving.
And Tangela will be monitoring those of you who have questions for AJ and Thomas. So make sure you pop it in the chat box if you have a specific question for their guides that they bring through. And again, let us know where you are geographically. I'm just going to read a few because we've got people from all over. We truly are the Global Peace Tribe. Tangela, are you in Sedona, Tangela?
Yes, I am. I'm here.
And we've got Omashar from Colorado. Susan Bloomquist, I know she's right here in the wine country of California. Scotty Satori, also in Colorado. Colorado, very well represented. One of our other guests is from Colorado as well. Susan is in Santa Barbara. Carol, where's Carol? She didn't say. She's wishing us a happy Thanksgiving, though. Connie and Andrew are in Colorado. My gosh, it's a Colorado time. Looking at where else people, we've got Jeffrey and Sonia from New York. Oh my gosh, I didn't mention Connie and Andrew. They're like the main part of the show. So they're going to get their own special. I had a feeling that I'd forgotten something or somebody. So we are going to have in a little while, kind of it's become an annual tradition that Connie and Andrew come on and give us kind of a real beautiful history lesson and it's very inspiring what they're going to share about the first Thanksgiving. So I apologize for missing you in my opening. I got so excited. But we're going to get a lot of Connie and Andrew tonight. All right. Well, I think it's time for Omashar. And he was in the Sacred Valley of Peru. I know it's one of your favorite places, Omashar. So please share with us a little bit about what took place for you down there. And I think you've got some videos to show.
I've got two very short videos, and yes, Scott, it was a wonderful experience. I think I'm going to start with a song and then go into it because that's how we do these things. But I was taking part in 2 weeks of ceremonies. I was there for 10 days of alcohol and drug-free ceremonies, and it's kind of akin to universal dances of peace and that kind of ilk. It's not easy to describe, but what happens in the first 3 or 4 days, you get together with a group. We were 31 people from 16 different countries, and we were represented by every different race, religion, color, and creed that you can imagine. So it was really delicious, a wonderful soup. And you take the first 3 days, you start taking off the mask of personality to reveal your heart, and then you kind of end up being in this beautiful field with each other. And then we went to these amazing sacred sites, like one was up at Lake Coricocha. It was at about 14,500 feet, and we're all dressed in magenta ponchos. We got drums and conch shells, and we're doing dances and all of these kind of interactive things which are kind of like universal dances of peace. But what it does is it weaves you together and you create this unified field. It's palpable. And when you're within that unified field, your head gets clear, your mind gets clear, your thoughts get more divine, I would say. And you feel really at home with Mother, and you feel nature communicating. So I'm just going to start with a little song, and then I got one video which is 2 minutes long, and one video which is 45 seconds. And but until then, we are going to listen to a song called "The Tear That Lost Fear of the Ocean." Action. I think it's action. Whoop. Yes. All right. when flowers grow, dripping with dew, and rivers flow in sapphire blue, I suddenly know what a fool God I knew. I'm a tear that's lost fear of the ocean. And when autumn sun kisses my cheek, whilst cool winds come from mountains peak, with poems on my tongue but no wish to speak, I'm a tear that's lost fear of the ocean. I'm a tear that's lost fear of the ocean. Sweet water, when I give you my heart, I already start to feel better. Sweet water, won't you send me your love forever and ever and ever, forever and ever and ever. Whoa, when tender hands trace memories where powdered sands meet temperate seas, I don't understand, but I love mysteries. I am a tear that's lost fear of the ocean. And when evening stars shine all around, my grieving heart's no longer down. And things that were lost, that's where true hope's found. I'm a tear that's lost fear of the ocean. There's people in the waiting room. Tear that's lost fear in the ocean. And sweet water, when I give you my heart, I already start to feel better. And sweet water, won't you send me your love forever and ever and ever? My sweet water, when I give you my heart, I already start to feel better. Sweet water, won't you send me your love forever and ever and ever? That's lost fear of the ocean. I'm a tear that's lost fear of the ocean. I'm a tear that's lost fear of the ocean. I think that goes
Gallery review before the videos to all Twinkle Omashar. Welcome him back. And thank you everybody for dancing and moving and grooving to the music. It was beautiful to see everybody.
I know it rocked, and our last friend there was truly jamming it out. Thank you so much. It's really uplifting. And I think we're all tears that are finally losing fear of the ocean. And we're realizing our sovereignty and our power and the power of the we that we are. It's amazing. And so I'm going to share this little, give me a bit of patience. I've got to share the screen and turn the sound on. But I'm going to share two short videos. One is 2 minutes. We were in a beautiful town called Chinchero. It's at about 13,500 feet. And I was up there, and this little kind of Peruvian local gem of a band just walked by, playing this local Peruvian music, and that's what we're just going to watch kind of right now. Actually, you can see my lovely screen here. I have to go into share computer sound. Yep. And we're going to go stereo, and I think you're going to let me know, Scott, if this is working. Can you see that?
We see gravel.
Can you hear this?
We hear it.
this is a place where there's an amazing market that happens, where all of the weavers from all the mountain villages come, and they share weavings which have taken them maybe 2 or 3 weeks to make, and it could be, they'll maybe only charge $10 or $15. It's unbelievable, the lack of total abundance that they get, but they live very rustic lives. They're living in mud huts, and everything is, all this fruit here, they reaped it and sowed it by hand. And this is the end of this little video. All good, Scott?
Yeah, I love that. It's really fun kind of getting that feeling, you know, the combination of the music and seeing the marketplace.
It's amazing, and this is really high altitude, so the oxygen is down to about 40%. So us visitors were all puffing and panting. This next little video I'm going to share is only 45 seconds long. We were doing an amazing ceremony, but in a place called Rakshi. It was a very sacred site for the Incas, and this local family came, and there was a little girl that came with the family, who you see here. This is kind of how we were dressed for the occasion. And see this woman here where my cursor is, not cursor, that's not a very nice name, but where my arrow is Solara. And she basically brought forth the 11/11 gathering in Egypt in 1992. And she fell during the ceremony and fractured her femur. So her whole time with us was in a wheelchair, but that was interesting. But anyway, she soldiered on. And there's a big circle. There's 31 of us. The rest of them are behind the camera. But this little girl on the right here, she's from a local family. She's this one's granddaughter. And she came and decided to sing us a song. And it was really unbelievable what she sang. You just listen.
Shiva, 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 Shambho. Shiva, 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 Shambho. Mahadeva Shambho. Mahadeva Shambho. Mahadeva Shambho. Mahadeva Shambho. Shiva, 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 Shiva.
Shiva Shambho.
So there's that one. There's only one more thing I'm going to show. But interestingly, whilst we were listening to that, my keyboard just got delivered to my door. How about that?
Wow. Well, that's perfect timing.
And so this is at Rakshi where this was, and we just we put rose petals all over the ground for our ceremony, and we was just sitting down here having just a moment. But we have drums, we're drumming, and we have conch shells and patutus, which are also like conch shells. Anyway, Scott, that's the end of my share for now. Thank you so much. And yes, I had a lot of fun. I got a lot more to share another day. I got about 300 photos and 20 videos, but anyway, love you all. Thanksgiving.
I think that's wonderful. Tangela, I think that little girl needs to be on Soul Search. You know, she's
Definitely.
clearly, you know, got the spiritual thing going on. So, you know,
Well, the bizarre thing
time to
is
start a Peruvian branch of Soul Search.
Definitely, they have to get her on it immediately.
Yeah, they have an interesting score system there, but it was her school teacher that taught her that song. So anyway, namaste.
Thank you, Omashar. I think he's probably excited to get his keyboard back.
I think so, but that was so fun. I loved seeing all of the beautiful views of Peru, and then just hearing the music and seeing everyone dancing together. That I'm so happy. I'm sure that one, you went on that trip. That's amazing, and thank you for sharing it with us and bringing us with you to Peru. Thank you.
It brought back a lot of memories. I've been to Peru twice and brought back those memories. So, and I'm sure for a lot of the people here that have been to Peru. In fact, I'm seeing Ayada wrote, "Oh my God, the music of the Andes just speaks to my heart and soul. I cannot wait to visit Peru." So if any of you have been to Peru, pop that in the chat box as well. Tangela, I'm going to turn over to you to introduce our wonderful guests.
Yes, I am excited because we have our amazing Soul Search TV stars here with us today, AJ and Tom, and they are intuitive channels. And they channel what they call the guides. And through the guides, AJ and Tom help you to discover the unique gifts and talents that you bring at this important time of spiritual awakening. What's so amazing about AJ and Tom and so unique is that they channel at the same time. And of course, you guys who have seen that already know. And if you haven't seen it, you're definitely in for a treat. They channel simultaneously by tuning in to the universal mind. As clear conscious channels, they share messages from source so that you can live your best life in full alignment with your higher self. And they bring through all of these beautiful messages with a lot of fun, with a lot of humor, with a lot of joy, which is what I love about you guys. And also, you have this amazing show on Soul Search TV, which Scott, I did share the trailer with you. I don't know if you had a chance to download it yet. If not, we can take a look at it later.
Yeah, I
But
have
it's
not. I'll do that now. I did not realize that.
perfect. It's called The Infinite Pathway: Journey to Self-Realization. And it's an amazing 12-part series that AJ and Tom have on Soul Search TV. So if you guys have not checked it out, definitely tune in, because each episode is a real powerful teaching and transmission. And they are going to be leading a really exciting journey for all of us in the Soul Search Facebook group starting in January, where they're going to be hosting a watch party where together we're going to be able to watch each episode, and then later in the week do some Q&A with AJ and Tom and with the guide. So it's going to be a real fun, interactive experience. They're going to tell us a little bit more about that. But without further ado, welcome AJ and Tom to the special Thanksgiving show. I know you guys love, and the guides love, speaking to all of us about gratitude. So welcome. We're
Oh, thank
grateful
you so much. We can't think of a better time to be with everyone than Thanksgiving Eve. How perfect. And to be surrounded with so much love and so much joy just gives us great joy. So we're so glad to be here.
Absolutely. The energy is just off the charts. I don't know if you can feel it, but it's a very important time to have high vibes right now. So we're really excited to bring through the guides, and we'll start actually with a little brief meditation just to align all of our energies, both for ourselves and for everyone here today. And then we'll probably have a little opening statement from the guides, which is very typical from them. And then we'd love to have the guides answer your questions, but we'll be in a little bit of a trance. So we'll let Tangia coordinate that for us as we bring through the guides for you today.
All right, let's go ahead and get started. And if you join us, please, in a nice, deep, cleansing breath. Really feel that air as it goes in and out of your lungs. Even though we won't continue to do it together, just allow yourself to focus your attention on that lovely breath, the gift of life feeding every cell in your body. Now allow yourself to feel the energies of earth beneath you, whether through your feet, through your seat. Feel the energies of earth coming up, securing you, rooting you, grounding you as she does so perfectly, so that you are safe and secure as we step into the etheric realm. In the same breath, feel the energies from the divine entering through your crown chakra. Feel that at the very top of your head opening, so that we have energies as above, so below, anchoring us, enabling us to be incarnated souls during this lifetime, fully equipped. We welcome in the guides and invite their wisdom in any way that best serves the greatest and highest good of all. And we ask only that you enable AJ and I to communicate clearly throughout this transmission. We welcome you.
Dear ones, we are so grateful for the opportunity to be with you in this present moment in time. And we celebrate you for the conscious choice that you have made to maintain and control your own vibrational frequency, in the conscious choices you make with the conversations you have with others, with the programming you listen to, with the music that energizes and adjusts the frequency throughout your physical being, enabling you the opportunity to move and create new flows and new pathways. Dear ones, this is an important time in your evolution, vortex, if you will, to enable you to realize your own divine I am, your own power, your own abilities, and to understand the power of your conscious choices.
We wish to begin today by reminding you that gratitude is so very much more than a response. It is, in fact, a vibrational frequency, and like all vibrational frequencies, is quite high on the scale. And so, therefore, if your general frequencies are low, it is a struggle for you to feel such gratitude easier tonight, yes, as our attention turns towards such joy, such appreciation. Notice how it is so much easier for you to experience gratitude, and yet, perhaps on another day, when your attention turns to those things that are troubling or worrying you, those things that are so often out of your control, but which occupy much of your mind, notice how they reduce your frequencies. Urge as much as you will to feel joy. It is difficult without aligning yourself to source so that you may raise your vibration. This is worth the few moments it takes you to do so, and we promise you, you shall remain in joy.
Dear ones, you do love your things, your objects, your collections, indeed your food, if you will, and yet let us remind you that the vibration of gratitude is what you bring to the table, so to speak. It is your energy, it is your intention, it is your recognition, it is your appreciation, if you will, that finds a resonance and raises us all, for it is what you bring to the table. You are the key, dear ones. It is your decision to find gratefulness in your surroundings, in the beautiful planet with all of its diversity and all of the various cultures and populations around the earth, and all of the abundance it provides. Therein is the secret for you, this recognition of what you bring and what you allow to create possible for yourselves.
And the door, beloveds, is so simple. It is the remembering that you are adored by Source, and that nothing you do can change this adoration. Focus your attention there, dear ones, and the rest shall follow easily. Gratitude shall be your song. We have much we wish to hear from you, however, and so we open for your questions and your inquiries.
Well, I see a question here from Sylvia, which is a wonderful question. AJ and Tom, are you and your guides up for talking about the flow between your human relationship and your channeling partnership?
Indeed, dear ones, what a beautiful symbiotic relationship. For we are talking here of affinity, and you may find this in so many ways. The mutual attraction, if you will, in the things that each of the channels find enjoyable and pleasurable, and the delight that they take in the sharing of such. For this planet and this environment is a wonder box of gifts, and the discovery is there for you as you unpack them. And as you unpack them, and as you find gratefulness and gratitude with each of these gifts, your vibrations naturally rise, and your abilities to see into what could be seen as other realms, to connect with us on higher levels becomes quite easy for you in this respect.
Our relationship is one of pure love and appreciation, and it was their curiosity, their interest, their desire to know more about the universe that brought us close around them, their appreciation of so many of the divine spirits, their willingness to believe when there was not physical evidence, and yet their reticence was strong when we suggested that they speak for us to others. For their response was, "Surely you have enough others to speak," and we reminded them, no. Each voice is of great critical power, and so we invited them to trust us, and this now has become a beautiful dance that we dance together joyfully and each and every moment.
Indeed, dear one, a dance that is available to each and every one of you as your consciousness moves higher into the higher dimensional realms, as you learn that there is no separation between your fellow human beings and the divine, that all is one.
You are hearing from the divine often. You are not different, for those voices are always near you, waiting for you to ask the next question and the next, and to listen gently for the answers.
Beautiful. One of our regulars, Susan Bloomquist, is starting a big project. Is there anything that the guides have to say to Susan about where her project is going?
Yes, there is much we wish to say to you, beloved. First, we wish to remind you that it is not the outcome that shall serve as the measure, but the intention. These are different energies, the intention that you hold and the reasons beneath why you wish to do this project. This shall continue to be clarified at times through success, at times through failure, whatever is needed, dear one, for you to purify your intent as you go forward. And yet, the energy of outcome is not for you to place attention, for the energy of outcome is simply the road that is followed. The gift is not the same energy as the receiving of the gift. And so we encourage you to focus only on the intention of the gift and to trust the flow that is coming to you even during challenging times, for they serve your greatest and highest good as well.
Dear one, we remind you that this work, which is so close to your heart, should never burden you. It should never be considered work as such, as you are always returning to your heart's desire. Remember, if you ever feel this way, to take a break, and then always return to what it is that is my heart's desire, and then proceed from there.
Remember, the outcome is not of importance. In other words, the destination, there is no arriving. And so you best take joy in every step of the journey, for every step is surrounding you with great love and confidence in all that you have been blessed to do.
Beautiful. Here's a question from Aza, also known as Heidi, who is the wonderful woman who is dancing up a storm during Omasho's song. She writes, in the USA right now, there are many forces causing division among people, families, and our communities. What are your guides' perception of what the deeper aspects of what this division is that's going on, that's creating this phenomena?
All planned, all apart. All planned and all a part of the shift that is occurring for you, dear ones. All a part of what is necessary for you to realize all that is needed for you to realize deep inside your souls. You signed up for this time, yes, and therefore we encourage you not to give attention to any of the negativity, but instead to put forward your intentions, for they're powerful. They hold great power. Your light, your individual lights are never extinguished. For there is no power in the universe that is able to extinguish the light, and therefore your light. And so we remind you that you have the ability to shake away those things which are not of service to you, and instead to remain attentive to those things that give you joy, for they are the power and able to transform all that is around you. This is the test, my dear ones. This is the test for you, to not allow any circumstance to tell you how your joy shall be felt, but instead to stand strong and say, I am adored by Source. I am always protected. I am always cared for. And therefore I send forth unity and oneness in my energy. And in doing so, I transform the world.
Indeed, dear ones, remember each and every one of you are fully equipped for each and every storm that may come your way. Yes, you are on a planet of polarity, of duality, and this increasingly so, for it is there for you to see the solution, one that has not been recognized in quite some time. This ability for you not to fall into the trap of polarity, of extremes of one side or another, but to transcend, dear ones, to transcend into higher consciousness and to rise above. This is your task at this time, to step out of division, of polarity, and return to your own divine I am.
All possible, dear ones, all possible. But it's up to you to decide where your attention shall fall. Therefore, if it is difficult for you to do so, we suggest you separate yourself from those sources of energy that are constantly bringing you towards the attention of the negative, and instead fill yourself with the many, many examples, millions we can see around you now, that are showing you the divine love of Source, and showing you the ways in which transformation is occurring to you daily. For your trees are not aware of the difficulties. Your animals are not aware of the difficulties. The wind is not aware. The sea is not aware. We suggest you join with them.
Indeed,
We,
such an important time for you to make those conscious choices of gratitude and appreciation for the many things that are intentionally there for you to take you out of such dire polarity issues.
we have one more question now, and then Thomas and AJ are going to come back at the end of the show, or towards the end. But this is from Ayada, who's also one of our regulars. We love Ayada very much. She writes, question, I'm getting closer to launching a project that I've been getting guidance about for a long time. The basic theme is contributing to the unification of humanity. It sometimes feels way too big for me, and I'm wondering if you have any guidance on this.
Look around you to find your partners, dear one, for this intention is not yours alone. In fact, there are many who share this intention, and so we encourage you to share your project with many others and listen for their support, for they shall show it in a number of ways. Too large for you, no, not at all too large for you, and inspired by your very soul, the reason why you are here now. However, remember what we've said about the outcome, for the outcome is none of your business. Instead, we encourage you to stay true to your intention, one step at a time, one movement at a time, and each time an individual that encounters you or your entire tribe, those that you have brought in to share with you this vision of yours. Every time it brings one individual into a greater sense of hope for their fellow man. The compassion that is a part of your heart chakra and a part of all humans' heart chakras, then this is where to place your attention.
Remember, dear one, that everyone is fully equipped, and the divine sees each and every one of you as whole, even in all of your circumstances, in many varied ways in which you look upon them. Remember, dear one, it is a returning to the consciousness of wholeness, of one, of unity, a simple remembering rather than a focusing on something that is broken and requires fixing. Herein, with this focus, you shall find success.
Nothing is impossible, dear one. Nothing is beyond you, for your intent is strong and your heart's desire is your very life force. So we encourage you to enjoy it, knowing that the millions of angels surround you and share in your dream.
And with this, we are complete.
Thank you so much, AJ and Tom and the guides. We actually had one more question coming in. If we can just ask this one more as well from Janice Hall. Any tips or exercises to unplug from the matrix, all programming or tendrils that may be embedded, known or unknown?
There are many, and you do know them. For you can feel them, you can feel the energy of them, heavy or light, burdensome or not. Note when you smile and when you do not. Here is the clear distinction. There are some that are easy. For when you hear judgment, when you hear condemnation, when you hear negativity, then you know it is not from source. When instead you hear love, and you hear belief, and you hear faith, and you hear joy, note how they make you feel, and note that these are where you must move forward toward. The exercise we invite you toward is an easy one. It is listening into your own soul. For your soul is telling you, along with your guides who surround you each and every day, what it is that is in your greatest and highest good. And therefore, the more you practice the listening of their messages and the listening of your own heart, this is where you shall find the direction you need.
Indeed, dear one, a matter of discernment, a recognition that you are not a part of the foibles of the mind and the imagination, but you are a child of the divine, and always making space to return to that aspect of you which is divine, and not concern yourself again with issues of polarity.
You are stronger than you believe. We say this to all of you. You have great capacity for love, or you would not be here in this collective. You are, in fact, standing ahead of much of humanity who looks towards you to see where they shall step next. As such, you are deeply protected and amazingly loved. And with this, we shall close for now.
Beautiful. I'm going to go right into, whoops, let's go take a look at their trailer, this beautiful trailer that they've created. Do you want to say anything about it, Tangela?
I think we can just jump right in and check out the trailer for Tom and AJ's beautiful show. Thank you for the channeling, guys. That was amazing.
Thomas Workman and AJ Kavanagh are intuitive channels.
You were created as a part of a universal plan.
Who have a remarkable ability to speak for a spiritual collective they call the Guides.
As you step into the light, you find new realities, new worlds indeed open up for you.
We often forget who we are, our eternal nature, and the wisdom that comes from that.
The Infinite Pathway, Journey to Self-Realization.
Wow.
Thank you.
It's happening. You guys are now on Soul Search TV. Please, Tangela, tell our audience a little bit about Soul Search TV, and I'll pull up that page.
Definitely. So AJ and Tom are, of course, amazing Soul Search TV influencers on our soulsearch.io platform, where you can connect with incredible healers, teachers, practitioners, guides. They are also regulars at our Enlightenment Expos in Scottsdale as well. And so you can see them live and in person. And we love their Soul Search TV show. Soul Search TV is our conscious content streaming channel where our practitioners from around the world create their own shows, and AJ and Tom have their original series that they've created, The Infinite Pathway, Journey to Self-Realization. And what's so exciting about their show that I mentioned, like today, they gave us a very pragmatic tool and practice that we can utilize in our lives. And in each of the episodes, they do that as they go through all of these different themes. And so we're really excited that in January, in our Soul Search Facebook group, they will actually be hosting a watch party as well as a discussion to really talk about each series. So each episode in the series. So it's going to be a really amazing way to dive into the work with AJ and Tom. All you guys have to do is, of course, just join our Facebook group. I dropped the link in the chat, and I'll drop it again. Soul Search Spiritual Holistic Wellness. And of course, you can learn more about them, connect with them, book a session at soulsearch.io, and also through their website, Speaking with Source. And of course, you can find them on Soul Search TV, which is available online on soulsearch.tv and also on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, Android TV, and on our Soul Search TV mobile app. So you guys can all get more of the wisdom, the joy, and the love of the guides. And thank you, AJ and Tom, for being such an amazing part of our Soul Search family.
Thank you so much.
And they've agreed to stick around. So in probably about 1 hour, they're going to come back to answer more questions. So the questions you guys asked were wonderful. There were some comments that came into the chat box from the people who asked, so make sure you check those out, guys. And again, a reminder, you can find all these wonderful things by going to soulsearch.io. For example, here's Thomas and AJ's page. But you can find a lot of the people that you've seen on the Awakening World by going to soulsearch.io. You can contact them this way, or you can go to their main website, and their main website is called Speaking from Source, which was interesting when they were answering one of those questions about speaking from source, which they clearly do. And you can tell that they're speaking from source because there's so much love that comes through. And their main website is speakingfromsource.com. Speakingfromsource.com. And I love these guys so much that I'm going to accept their cookies. So there you go. Oh, those are pretty yummy cookies too.
They're pretty
they're
tasty. Yeah,
delicious.
yeah, we give them out free.
Thank you, guys. We'll look forward to seeing you in a little bit.
Thanks so much, AJ and Tom.
Well, Tangela, it's my pleasure to introduce a new friend to the Awakening World.
Are we doing music first?
Were we doing music? I thought we were doing Mirror next. I could be confused. I think
Thomas and AJ, then Omar Shah. But do it. Yeah, go for Mayor. It's all good.
There, see, Scott introduces Mayor Cromwell. Take a look.
I have a different one, brother. It's all good. Sorry, excuse me. Love you.
That's quite all right. Yeah, the proper agenda is at the very, very top of our chat box, Omar Sharp. Now you guys get to see how it kind of all goes. So this is Mayor Cromwell. And you know, a big part of the Awakening World, going way back to when Deborah and I first started the Global Peace Tribe, has been fundraising. Back when we started the Global Peace Tribe we were doing Saturday Night Live for the Global Peace Tribe, we raised well over $100,000 in our first year for fire victims mostly. And we always like to keep our finger on the pulse of what's going on in our community. Of course, as you all know, that regulars, we've recently supported Piper Dellums. We've recently supported Connie and Andrew, who are with us tonight. And tonight we've got a real treat. Mayor Cromwell originally invited her to share with us about the great work she's doing in the Appalachian Valley. She's going to talk about that. And I also discovered and learned that she has a direct connection to Mother Earth Gaia. So, Mayor, welcome to the Global Peace Tribe. Welcome to the Awakening World. And I'd love for you to share with the audience both a little bit, whatever message from Mother Earth, and then certainly how we can support the work you're doing.
Gosh, Scott, thank you so much. It's really an honor to be here and an honor to have everyone here who's with us, because as Source was speaking through AJ and Thomas, this is a selective collective of people who, with beautiful hearts, who are really focused and committed to growth and raising their spiritual vibration. And so it's truly an honor to be here. Gosh, you know, I guess it's important I talk a little bit about who I am and how it is that I'm even doing this project for Appalachia, because I am a Gaia mystic and high priestess, and Mother Gaia actually told me to call myself a high priestess. My journey with her went very deep, very fast when I was diagnosed with cancer in late May of 2012. And had already arranged to do a ceremony with a gifted Algonquin medicine man that was scheduled for 4 days after I'd gotten that diagnosis. So I was freaking out, but I already knew that my life was to serve Mother. I wasn't going to miss this ceremony. And just before we started the ceremony, the Algonquin man said to me, I'm going to be bringing Gaia's energy and conscious into your energy body, but I don't know how you're going to disconnect. And I was not concerned, because I just knew that I was meant to be there, and whatever was meant to happen was going to be beautiful and positive and healing for Mother. And that was my goal. And right at the end of the ceremony, Mother started talking to me really clearly, like you're hearing me now. And I didn't hear her before. The Algonquin man has a really close rapport with her. But she said to me that if I surrendered to her to the extent she was going to ask me to surrender, then I would heal from the cancer without the doctors, which is what happened over the next 14, 15 months. And I'm getting chilly bumps right now telling you this, which usually is a sign that mother's coming in more strongly right now. So she'll probably be speaking through me, through part of what I'll be sharing. This has been a rollicking adventure because this really kicked in a big way in 2012, that June. My car went an extra 110 miles on full 2 weeks after that, when mother told me to go to the shore, the ocean, and listen to her. And when I got there, she basically downloaded all these messages in me, one of which was, I want you to write this book. So I've written 2 books with mother. I'm working on my 3rd one called Gaia's Web of Love. And mother has a way of waking me up really early in the morning. Maybe AJ and Thomas can relate to this too, with your guides and how they work with you. It's like that prime hour of 4:35. What's happening right now, like every day these days, happened to me intensely in the phases of deep writing with mother and deep project work with her. And so I live in Western North Carolina, and I would think all of you know about Hurricane Helene. I live with my sweetie here. We're actually more on the eastern side of Asheville, on the other side of the mountain ridge there. So we got hit, but nothing like what happened in Asheville along the floodplain, Marshall, Lake Lure, Chimney Rock. So many communities got flooded out, buildings destroyed, houses washed away. A lot of people lost their lives. There are still cadaver dogs looking for bodies, believe it or not. It's not in the mainstream news anymore. And so the second weekend in November, I'd gone for a retreat to the beach, and I came back. I was really exhausted, 10-hour drive, and I love taking baths. And baths is where I do my best ceremony, honestly. And when I do ceremony, just to let you know, I've studied with Native American teachers for 26 years, and a couple of them have really confirmed my close rapport with mother, which is the only way I could do this work publicly. So anyway, I'm in the bathtub, and I pour sacred water usually in the bathtub. I call on my spirit teams. I really go into an altered state, and it's like being in the amniotic fluids of mother's womb in many ways. And so mother came in really strongly, literally like 2 weeks ago. I think that's really what it was, and said, I want you to do this project, and I want you to focus on calling people to pray all over the world and regionally for the healing of the waters and the soils here in this region in Appalachia, where the toxins that got kicked up by the raging floodwaters from the hurricane are making people sick. Dogs are being put to sleep. The cadaver dogs apparently are dying because of their exposure to the toxins. People are getting sick. And, recovering from a hurricane or tornado or any huge natural disaster, and my mother wants me to put in quotes natural disaster, because from her angle, there's a lot of behind the scenery reasons these storms are so extreme. And people can rebuild their houses, people can access more clothing. However, there are 2 main things that linger for a long time that are really hard to heal normally, from the way we normally think about things in 3D thinking. One is the toxins. They're called forever chemicals. The other is our soul bodies, our psyches, and the post-traumatic stress disorder. And people are freaking out when we had another big rainstorm and windstorm of, 2 weeks, 3 weeks after the hurricane, because, there's all this triggered reaction to surviving this hurricane because it was so extreme. So my work that mother's asked me to do, and I know that it will have some ripple effect on people's hearts and their emotional fields and the healing. But mother said, I want you to call for people to pray all over the world. And I organize global grids of ceremonies. I've been doing this for 8 years. Traditionally, what I've been doing every fall is 1,000 goddesses gathering global grid. But this time, mother said, we need to focus on basically loving up the toxins to the point where that much energy and love will encourage them to vibrate into inert divine source energy, as my friend Janice words it. Thank you, Janice. And there's a lot of research on the power of prayer. And I probably don't need to speak to the choir here, but I'll just share that if you don't know about Masaru Emoto's work, he was groundbreaking back in the 90s, 2000s, etc. Probably even prior to that, photographing water crystals and how they responded to our thoughts, the words, and recruited groups of volunteers to pray around toxic ponds, which actually healed the waters to a large degree. And there's so many instances where prayer has cleared the toxins, the poisons, the toxic bacteria in waters. And so this event is happening on Friday. It's now Wednesday night here in the United States. And all of you are invited to participate. And if you go to the website that Scott just put in there, greatmotherlove.earth, there's information on the top of there. Thank you, Scott. Feel free to join our email list. You'll find out about more projects that I'm involved in. Oh, thank you, Scott. Look at him. He's putting his email address in there right now as we speak. You're such a love. So you're all invited, and I am actually blown away at how viral this has gone. People are picking it up all over the world, all sorts of different groups around the country, and the groups here in North Carolina that have all been sharing hurricane relief effort updates, and people still are actually living in tents right now. So this area is going to be in recovery for a long time. But if we can at least pray and love up this part of Appalachia, really focus as if you're praying over a friend who's got advanced cancer, we have the capacity to actually transmute. And I want to share something with you that I actually communicated with the consciousness of the toxins. I can do that at times. And what they said to me was, we are really willing to transmute. That their existence is a very strange one because they were human-made, they're toxic substance, they're not natural here to Earth. And so they're willing and happy to be transmuted, but they need that boost of energy. So you're all invited. I'm happy to take any questions. And Mother is just ecstatic that Scott invited me here to be on the show tonight. Yeah, 1:11 p.m. Eastern time. And if you can't do it then, to do it anytime on Friday. And the thing is that Friday, for those of the United States, is a day to digest Thanksgiving meal. So it's a great time to actually go outside, go for a walk, go to your local waterway, stream, river, or even do it in your own house over the sink with water there. But it's our hearts. Our hearts are so powerful. And I know that AJ and Thomas with their guides would really confirm that too.
Mary, would you be willing, we do pray on this show frequently, and would you be willing to lead a prayer for us all right now so we can pray for the waters and pray?
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, Scott, you're so good. All right, let me tune in. Actually, Mother's coming through right now. My beloved, beloved children, I see your hearts. I invite you to connect with my heart in the center of the earth. And drop your energy, your thoughts to my heart, your heart to my heart. And I am sending my love from my heart back up into you, into your energy body, into your heart. Beautiful. And I invite you now, as I am with you, and the trees are with you, and the waters are with you, and the animals are with you, the clouds are with you. I invite you right now to, in your heart, focus on these chemicals there in the French Broad River and the other rivers here around Asheville and the surrounding cities. And send so much love into that water, so much love to those toxins, because they need love too. All are in need of love. And invite these toxins to just release their molecular formulas, their molecular structures, to release into pure love, to release into source energy, so they can come back home to me, your mother, your foremost mother, in a form that is really beautiful and positive for me and all the other sacred seen and unseen ones around our earth. Oh, thank you. I love you. You can call on me anytime to hold you also if you are struggling in your life right now. I am here for you. I am your foremost mother, your planetary caretaker. Oh.
Mm.
Mm.
Thank you. You know, I always like to remind people that if you're ever feeling disconnected, lonely, isolated, remember that our true mother is Mother Earth Gaia, and she's always holding us.
Mm.
It's called gravity. We're always being held by our mother. And it's so important to remember that. So I've said that many times, I think, on the show, but I thought I'd repeat that again. And Mara, thank you so much.
You're welcome. I just want to add to that you can really ask her to hold you. Like if you're in a fetal position and you're crying, you will, if you're sensitive to her, she will come really, it's gravity, yes, but it's more than that when you really reach out to her and connect.
Beautiful. All right. Well, now is when we get to have an Om Shar song, because after prayer is always a good time to go to Om Shar. Mara, thank you so much for the wonderful work you're doing. And I know I and many of us at 8:11 p.m. Pacific time will be tuning in. Actually, let's see, it's 1 p.m. So it'll be our 10.
9. No, 10. But you know what? If you can't do it then, anytime during the day, really, because it's just one field of energy.
Yeah. Thank you. And here is beloved Om Shar.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I always appreciate being channeled or communing with Mother. And you took me right into the depths there. So as I'm rising into my body to sing for us, I'm here with gratitude for our Mother Earth and, of course, all mothers and the mother energy within us all. And this is a song called Thank You for This Day. And it was originally from a Native American church, and then it was adapted by Karen Drucker, and then it was adapted by me. And so without any further ado, I'm going to change mic source and let's groove to this little thing. Spirit, thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for my friends, Spirit, thank you for my friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit, thank you for my friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. Thank you for my life, Spirit, thank you for my life. Thank you for my life, Spirit, thank you for my life. My beautiful, my beautiful, my beautiful life. My beautiful, my beautiful, my beautiful life. Thank you for our health, Spirit, thank you for our health. Thank you for our health, Spirit, thank you for our health. Our radiant, our radiant, our radiant health. Our radiant, our radiant, our radiant health. Thank you for the trees, Spirit, thank you for the trees. Thank you for the trees, Spirit, thank you
powerful, the powerful, the powerful trees. The powerful, the powerful, the powerful trees. Thank you for our food, Spirit, thank you for our food. Thank you for our food, Spirit, thank you for our food. Our vibrant, our healthy, our life-giving food. Our vibrant, our healthy, our life-giving food. And thank you for this tribe, Spirit, thank you for this tribe. Thank you for this tribe, Spirit, thank you for this tribe. This soulful, this soulful, this soulful tribe. This soulful, the global peace tribe. And thank you for our wealth, Spirit, thank you for our wealth. Thank you for our wealth, Spirit, thank you for our wealth. Our abundant, our abundant, our abundant wealth. Our abundant, our abundant, our abundant wealth. And thank you for this earth, Spirit, thank you for this earth. Thank you for this earth, Spirit, thank you for this earth. This magical, majestic, magnificent earth. This magical, majestic, magnificent earth. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. My beautiful, my beautiful, my beautiful life. My beautiful, my beautiful, my beautiful life. My radiant, my radiant, my radiant health. My radiant, my radiant, my radiant health. And the powerful, the powerful, the powerful trees. The powerful, the powerful, the powerful trees. And our vibrant, our healthy, our life-giving food. Our vibrant, our healthy, our life-giving food. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This magical, this majestic, magnificent earth. Magical, majestic, magnificent earth.
Woo! Going to gallery view. That's a double, triple twinkle for that one. I love that.
Yeah, triple twinkle. I tell you, once the song's been passed through 3 hands, it becomes even more awesome. So there it is.
Oh my God, that's amazing. And you know, Karen Drucker is now Ray Amana, who's been on this show multiple times. So I think
Interesting. Ray Mana. No, she's the singer, the beautiful singer. That's not Karen.
yeah. That's not Karen Drucker.
No.
Oh, I guess. Well, Ray Amana used to be Karen something, so I got it confused.
Yeah. It's all good, and we love both the Karens, and we love Rhea. And
Yes.
Karen Drucker's been around for a while, and she has a whole series of songs like this. And she, as I said, she adapted this from a Native American church, and then Omar Shah readapted it because that's what he does. And thank you very much.
Hey, I want to remind everybody that, of course, we get Omar Shah, we're lucky, twice a week on The Awakening World, most of the time when he's not in Peru. But you can also bring Omar Shah home with you today by going to omarshah.bandcamp.com. Yes, Omar Shah comes home with you in wonderful ways, and you've got 5 different Omar Shahs to bring home with you. So really, let's support our beautiful brother. His music, of course, is amazing. And again, if you go to omashar.bandcamp.com, that's the best place to get his albums and his music. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Scott. I appreciate that. See you later.
See you soon. I want to introduce Heather Shea, and she's here to kind of warm us all up for something very special that's going to be happening on our Saturday night show, just in a few evenings. So welcome aboard, Heather.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here and just delightful. And thank you for this tribe. I love that. And I know Karen would love that version of the song. So very, very fun. So thank you. And thank you for all of you. It's been an extraordinary evening. So I feel very blessed to be here. And so is Nemo. I mentioned to Scott that Nemo may be joining.
Nemo is your black cat.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, share with us, because we're going to have about an hour with you on Saturday night, where you're going to give an opportunity to give readings to those of us that have fur family members. So tell us how that works and what you're going to need and what's going to happen.
Sure. Well, bring in your fur family, not literally, they can be with you, but what I need is I need a picture, and it can be a dog, a cat, a horse, a rabbit, a chicken, whatever, whomever you would like to bring in. And I'd like to know their name, how old they are, and how long they've been with you. And if you feel like it, anybody else that might be around. So if it's a dog, sometimes I like to know if there's cats in the house or if they have a bunny rabbit friend. And we'll be talking to them. And what I do is it's a combination of telepathy and insight, and I literally have a conversation. So it isn't like I'm going to be here clucking or barking or meowing. I go into a state with them and I find out what's interesting to them, what their essence is, what they're about, what they like, sometimes what they don't like. If you have a question, I can ask them the question. I will also, if you would like, look at any health concerns that you might have about them. I am also, if it's okay with Scott, I'm happy to work with animals who are in this dimension, and also many of us have spirit animals at this, especially this time of year. We're grateful in the holidays and we miss somebody who's passed on. So if you would like me to speak to a cat, a dog, a horse, or whatever that has transferred, I will be happy to do that as well. If you want to find out how they're doing, what they're up to, I'm happy to invite that in. Because the time frame will probably have about 5 to 7 minutes per animal, I can always follow up if there's something that needs following up. I get questions like, why doesn't my cat go into the cat box? So it might be something like that. I had that recently, and the person had changed the kitty litter, and the cat felt that the new kitty litter was hard on his paws. I get the, why does my dog bark? Is my dog protecting me? And sometimes it's like, no, actually the dog is protecting himself. So you can get a variety of things. I was working with somebody recently, and they were very cute. They were like, well, I like watching Golden Girls and American Idol with my mom. It's like, okay. So I can hear anything. This was a case where the person was having a challenge with a dog going inside the house, or she just wanted it to go out when they were going out. And the dog came from a previous home that had a doggy door. So also, I was working with a guinea pig who was very upset. His name was Elvis. And the mom was wondering what was wrong with Elvis. And it turned out that she had started putting arugula in his food. And he didn't like arugula. So anyway, I can get all sorts of things. I can also get, if I do a fair amount of work when somebody's saying my animal is a little bit older, is it time for them to transition? Are they ready to go? We just found out they have cancer or something. Are they willing to go through the operation? So I'm kind of going on and on. So really, kind of like if we're talking to somebody else, we'll have those conversations. And it's very fun. And I'm very grateful, Scott, for this opportunity.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. We've got a quick question from Heidi wondering, she says, what if I have 9 dogs? Can I show a picture of all of them, or do I need to choose one?
Show them all.
Okay.
You can show them all. And what you can do is say, for this time period, would you is there one? Hello, baby. We're going to talk on Saturday.
Yeah, yeah.
We've had little conversations ahead of time, haven't we? Yes, we've been sneaking in because when I start to make a connection, I start hearing things. So, hello.
Yeah. Well, I figured I'd bring her on. She was right here and got antsy when this.
Like, we're talking to me,
Yeah.
and as you know, and everybody on this call and this program knows, her real essence is about love.
Yeah,
that's who she is. She is love. She's about love. She's here for love, and we'll talk more about that. She also is gorgeous.
Oh, thank you.
Knows she's gorgeous.
You're gorgeous. Yes.
Yeah. And so there goes the love. We'll talk more on. more things to talk about on Saturday. So thank you.
Heather, thank you so much.
And yes, I can do the 9. I can probably focus on 1 or 2, or if you have a specific question, but I'm happy to touch base with them all.
Okay, great. We will see you on Saturday night, and stick around. We've got a great show. So we'll see you in a little bit.
Great, thank you.
And Sheila, my wonderful co-host, what would you like for the audience to know about that's happening with Soul Search?
Well, we always have a lot going on, of course, Scott. So thank you so much for everyone and all of the beautiful shares that we're hearing tonight. Mayor, actually, I did a 10,000 Goddesses ceremony here in Sedona as part of your 10,000 Goddess gathering earlier this year. And I actually tuned into your morning meditation that morning. So I never met you in person, but I just wanted to let you know that I have been following your work, and I did the
I
Goddess.
remember you. I remember like you're connecting with me. That's so beautiful. Thank you. No.
Thank you. And we'll definitely share the prayer for Appalachia in our Soul Search community, in our Soul Search Facebook group, and let everyone know to please tune in and share in prayers at 11:11 on Friday.
Thank you. Thank you.
Do that so we can all be in collective prayer together. And Scott, what do we have coming up with Soul Search? So as all of you guys know, our community is very active, and we have our Soul Search Enlightenment Expos very often. And we actually have 2 this month in December. We have Dublin coming up in Dublin, Pleasanton, California. Our expos are a lot of our Global Peace Tribers have been a part of them, and they are so much fun. We bring our whole community together. We have incredible psychics, channels, mediums, healers, crystals, all sorts of transformational technologies and body work, energy healing, and so much more. So we'll be in Dublin, California this Sunday, December 1st, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. So if you guys are in the Bay Area and you want to come get some fun, unique holiday gifts, you want to get a reading to figure out what's going on for the holidays and for the new year, then definitely come by Dublin, Pleasanton. Yes, thanks, Scott, for pulling this up. And December 8th, we'll be in Santa Ana, Orange County. So again, another magical holiday expo with Soul Search. Come and be a part of it. It's a psychic and healing fair, holistic event, holistic expo. And then we will be back in one of our favorite locations in Scottsdale on January 11th and 12th for the new year. And of course, we have our whole 2025 schedule coming soon. We'll be in Reno, of course, all over the Bay Area, Southern California, and some new cities we're going to be launching as well. So stay tuned for that, including Las Vegas. So we have a lot going on, but definitely for December, come see us in Dublin this Sunday, or if you're in Orange County or Southern California, come see us in Santa Ana, December 8th. And Scott, you're going to be with me. We're going to do we're going to do one of our hybrid events for Sacred Sunday.
Yeah, everybody. So put December 8th into your calendars. That's a Sunday. If you're anywhere in Southern California, come be with us live. Otherwise, we will go online. And what time are we going to do that on Sunday?
11 a.m.
11 a.m. Okay, so 11 a.m. Sunday, December 8th. I'm taking a road trip. I'm going up to Nevada City this weekend, then up to Reno, and then down to Los Angeles. We'll be there on the 8th with Tangela. And for anybody in San Diego area, on Tuesday, December 10th, I'm going to be doing a relationship satsang experience with my good friend Viraja Prema. And we take people's questions, and it's a live event. This will not be online. This is a live event. So it'll be in Encinitas, which is north of San Diego. So that's something kind of fun on my end that I'm looking forward to.
That's going to be great.
Anything else on Soul Search that you want people to know about?
And of course, like I mentioned, we have AJ and Tom's watch party. That's going to be coming up in our Facebook group in January. So definitely stay tuned for that. We're really excited. It's going to be very interactive. It's going to allow us to really get in deep with the guides and all of the messages and teachings from the TV show. And of course, we have lots of new shows launching in January, so you guys can stay tuned. And this is our Soul Search Spiritual and Holistic Wellness community in our Facebook. This is our Facebook group. So definitely join if you have not, so you can partake in the watch party with AJ and Tom, as well as the discussion. And oh, Scott, I'm glad you're pulling that up because we actually just finished a really great giveaway, which AJ and Tom were part of, where 8 of our amazing practitioners all gave prizes. And we had one lucky winner who is Joanna Flores, who is a nurse in Phoenix, Arizona. She won this prize of over $1,700 of readings and healings, and it included channeling session with AJ and Tom, Holy Fire healing session with Charlie, my husband, a lot of you guys know, intuitive reading with Victoria Shaw, another one of our Soul Search TV stars, a mediumship reading with Jared the Medium, also on Soul Search TV. So huge array of prizes. So if you guys missed out and weren't part of this giveaway contest, don't worry. We'll be having another one in 2025. So all you have to do is join our Facebook group and then stay tuned to find out how you can be one of the lucky winners of this transformational package. It'll be different because we're going to have new practitioners coming in and giving prizes, but it's going to be amazing no matter what.
Wow. That's really, really fun. A couple more announcements. Want to let everybody know that Deborah Giusti did the State of the World Planetary Ascension event with her friend Camille last month, I think it was. And there was such a great response that she's doing an episode 2. It's free of charge, and it's on December 5th at 5:30 Pacific time. December 5th is a week from tomorrow, a week from Thanksgiving. And so definitely want to encourage people to go there. And if you go to planetaryascension.org, planetaryascension.org, and that's where you can register and get in the email list. And then she will, or her people will send you the Zoom room link. So definitely that's happening. And then finally, Summer Joy is dancing up a storm. And I know a lot of the people that are on our show dance with her on a regular basis every day right now at 11:11 a.m. Pacific time. Come dance with Summer Joy. I know Sylvia is usually there. And maybe, Sylvia, you can put in the chat box the link where people can know about that. And I was there yesterday. It was really, really fun. So definitely join us for a 30 minutes of dance with Summer Joy. It's free of charge. It's her gift to our community. I think that's it. Those are the Global Peace Tribe announcements for now. And Tangela will be back in a little bit. But I now get to introduce our favorite couple, the honeymooners. Their life is one big honeymoon. And of course, I'm talking about Connie and Andrew. And it's become a tradition that every year around this time, they come and they share with us some history. So take it away, Connie and Andrew.
Well, we're so happy to be back here on this Thanksgiving Eve, sharing a journey to gratitude that Andrew will be taking you on a journey. And he's the author of the Mayflower Revelations, this novel that we share the coming together of the Mayflower Pilgrim Separatists and the Pokanoket Wampanoags, who they lived in peace and friendship with for 54 years in Plymouth at the founding of this nation. And we call this the spiritual beginnings of our nation. And it's been lost in revisionist history, has shrouded it in misconception and misunderstanding. And it's so key for the psyche of this nation to understand that it came from the direct connection, the desire to have a direct connection to the divine, which was spoken of earlier. that that true freedom of living according to our conscience, and that's native, and that's what the Pilgrims were seeking, and stood up to the King of England, and separated from the church, which was a treasonous act. So Andrew's going to take you on a little journey, and first of all, though, we're going to bring a Pokanoket grandmother who's a good friend. We're going to bring her in from a recording we did yesterday, to do an opening prayer and song. So you can meet Barbara Mary Kerpis and just settle into your hearts through this native sharing. So I'm going to share my screen, and then I'm going to, what does that say? Desktop not showing? I don't know.
I've had that happen.
So
when you
what do
say share, does that do anything? To share your screen, yeah.
So I don't know, maybe we're not going to. So it's not working.
You know, for some reason, last
We'll
time
let
too,
it
we
go.
had some trouble with that. Yeah, there's this beautiful lady named Barbara, and she is a member, a descendant of the original Native American group who the Pilgrims met when they landed, or actually it was almost 6 months after they landed that they met their first Indian, and she's descended from that little group of people. And she's also descended from one of the Mayflower passengers who landed, Stephen Hopkins. So she, as she says, she walks in both worlds. She carries the blood, those twin bloodstreams, and that goes for an awful lot of people in this country who share European bloodlines and Native American bloodlines that inform their vision of the world.
Yes. So sorry you don't get to meet her, but Andrew, do you want to take us on this little journey
All right.
to gratitude?
Okay, so I held up this book earlier. Let me say a word about it. There's an awful lot of misbelief, misconception on the subject of how the Pilgrims and the Indians got along together or did not get along together. And that's a pretty big deal for a lot of people, including the, and there she is. Come on, Barbara, you can talk to us. Honey, don't move things around. That's confusing. So what I'm going to do is take us on a little shamanic journey through 4 centuries and over many thousands of ocean miles and into the past, starting on, well, I want to ask the question, what was going on at the time when the entire Pilgrim story started? What was going on in England, where they came from, and what was going on over here in America at that time? Today, they call it Turtle Island. I don't really know what they called this continent, but let's call it Turtle Island. What was going on in Turtle Island? Let's go back into, shall we say, the late 1500s, the 16th century. And let's go back in England at that exact time and look at a group of people where radical permanent change was happening in England. It started in the late reign of Queen Elizabeth I. It started at Cambridge University, which is now a very big deal, and it was in existence even then. And it was triggered by the fact that the Bible, for the first time in history, had been translated into English. And all of a sudden, people were reading their Bibles. People had Bibles. You didn't have to go to church and listen to somebody chanting away in Latin or before that Greek. And you have to have an interpreter. You could read it for yourself, which really changed the way people related to the church in particular. So the Church of England was incredibly, what should we say, decadent. There were these large, fat bishops wearing these lush robes, and they lived in these castles, and the whole thing was very, very, shall we say,
and also all the princes and peoples round about us have either made suit.
Sorry about that, kids.
That's one of our little films we were hoping to show. We had actually made these 3 little films, and we were planning to show them. So maybe we can,
I'm sending them to Scott so he can show.
Maybe Scott can do it. Okay, thanks. The painting behind us here, we stepped aside so that you could actually see the painting, is actually a depiction of the first Thanksgiving 404 years ago this year. It actually 403 years ago, 404 years ago, the Mayflower landed. Roughly 9 to 10 months later, they had built these little houses that you see. They had met with the Native Americans that had their first crop that actually had a successful harvest, and they had a 3-day intercultural celebration. Let's think about this coming together, and I'm going to put the focus on gratitude. Why would they be grateful to come together in a state of gratitude? Just got to make one little move here. Really helps me. Okay. So let's, I just mentioned what was going on in England. The Bible had been translated into English, and it was triggering a major revolution. The King of England was also the head of the church. He was an absolute monarch. He said off with his head, off came the head. It was literally that kind of situation. You did what you were told, or you paid the price, right? And people started to rebel against that and started to go like, wait a minute. And it was illegal not to go to church. It was illegal to have your own religious prayer meetings in your own home. That was illegal. You could get busted and imprisoned for doing that. It was a time of where these early people, I'm sure you've all heard of the Puritans. So the Puritans were a movement of folks who wanted to purify the church. They didn't want to break away from the church. They wanted to purify it from within. They wanted to stay in the church, but get rid of all the stuff that wasn't in the Bible. Like there's no mention of bishops in the Bible. There's no mention of castles for the bishops. There was no mention of all of that stuff that had just been added on later and was sort of leaching the wealth from the communities, just as had been happening for centuries with the Catholic Church, which they'd broken away from back in the days of Henry VIII. As you can tell, a lot of history here, but I think that the fascinating thing is the Native American story, the American story. It's incredibly nuanced, complex, controversial even. There's a little true, what should we say, consensus on the part of historians even. So the various historians of that era 400 years ago trying to figure it out, 500 years ago trying to understand. 500 years ago, here come the French. Here comes Jacques Cartier, okay? And the very beginning of what became the French fur trade happened at that point. So this is really important because the French fur trade triggered competition among the native people for control of the fur trade. Typical human behavior. No, it's ours. We're in charge. We met them first. We met the French. They gave us these guns, and you guys better not try to sell your furs to these people. Go find your own market, right? Competition for the market. So there's that. There's a cast of very colorful characters. I could literally go on for days on the subject. I'll ask this question. Who was the single most important individual in early American history out of everyone? And I'll give you a hint. His name began with the letter N, and he lived in present-day Medford, Massachusetts. And I don't expect you to know because it's barely even in the history books. He was the head of an organization called the Massachusetts, or that we call the Massachusetts Federation. He was the head of the Sagamore, the king, as the English called him, the king. They didn't, he was a king. His name was Nanepashemet. And what Nanepashemet did was he had a military alliance or a mutual protection agreement with a group of people up north who were having a conflict over competition for the French fur trade. And that competition erupted into a war called the Tarratines War. Now, hang on. Anybody here heard of the Tarratines War? Google it, you'll find a lot there, but you can go up to historians of New England and say, tell me what you know about the Tarratines War, and they've never heard of it. It is a piece of history that's either been forgotten or lost or suppressed. It's hard to say which. But what happened is that the Tarratines War broke out between the Tarratines. Today, you will have heard of their tribe. Today, we call them the Mi'kmaq. They lived mostly on Nova Scotia. It was too cold up north. The growing season was too short to grow the three sisters, the corn, the beans, and squash. that all of the Native Americans in Turtle Island depended on. So what did they do? What was their survival strategy? They became a raider culture. They came down the coast in the fall at harvest time, and they returned with corn, beans, squash, and beautiful young ladies. Typical behavior, right? And so that was a known thing. So the people down south were accustomed to that. They knew they had literally made their villages portable. They could pack up their villages and move them in an hour. So, like, I think it was Cartier had pulled up off the shoreline of a village like that and watched the village melt away before his eyes. They couldn't believe it. The reason they did that is these raiders would come down, and they were dangerous. They were violent. You just got the hell out of the way. So those were the Tarratines, today's Micmac. And their strategy was, right, raiding. They depended for their food on people to the south to grow it, and they'd come down and steal it. Now, the war started, and that war meant that the war canoes, the birch bark canoes with these raiders would start showing up at any time at all once the war began, because Nanepashemet from the Massachusetts Federation sent warriors up north to help his friends. You've probably heard of the Penobscot if you've spent any time in Maine, Penobscot country, who got into big trouble with the Micmac / Tarratines. Tarratines is a Basque word, so there's a lot of depth to the story here. And Connie, what?
No, yes.
Yeah, I talk fast. So it's a big, long story, but cut to the basics. A war erupted up north that the Indians from Massachusetts Bay got involved in by sending warriors up to help their friends, their allies. Big mistake from the historical point of view for them, because this war started basically 1607. In 1614, it erupted to another level. 1614 is the year Captain Jack Smith, remember him, of Pocahontas fame?
Jack?
John. Captain John Smith. Everybody called him Jack. Sorry. Captain John Smith shows up to map one of his English bosses wanted to plant a colony. They called it a plantation. They wanted to plant a colony in the Massachusetts Bay area. So he shows up. Patuxet, behind us in this picture, is a place called Patuxet. It was called Patuxet then. It was the home of the Patuxet tribe. Today it's called Plymouth, Massachusetts. Does that ring a bell? And normally at this time of year, where are we? We're in Plymouth, Massachusetts. We go every year. This is very unusual for us to be here in Colorado. So Smith shows up and he's taking notes. He's doing estimates. He says Patuxet has approximately 2,000 warriors. 2,000 warriors, that means probably 5,000 people. It was a pretty significant community. But little did he know, up to the north, this trouble was brewing because these warriors had ceased to come down in the harvest season, were coming down at any time at all and getting seriously violent with whoever they found. They were looking for Nanepashemet, and they couldn't find him. He was very, very well hidden. They didn't catch him until 2019. What year did the Mayflower arrive? Did I say 2019? 1619. I'm sorry, I'll keep doing that. 1619, Nanepashemet is killed. The Tarratines' war comes to an end. But something horrible has happened in the entire coastal region, all the way from Maine down to Cape Cod. It didn't go further south. It didn't get down to present-day Rhode Island. But all along the coast, a pandemic, literally a pandemic. A pandemic is a global epidemic of disease that started in 1616, ended in 1618, and the war that transmitted this disease from up north, it literally came from French fur traders up north, was carried by these warriors down south, infected the people, and took out as many as 90% of the coastal populations between 1616 and 1619. So that's what's going on on this side of the pond. On that side of the pond, all of the stuff's going on. The Mayflower Pilgrims had to actually escape from England. They spent 12 years living in Holland, which was much more liberal and allowed for religious freedom, and eventually decided to leave there. Their kids were literally becoming Dutch, and they really still regarded themselves as Englishmen and were, their fealty to the king. They purchased, it's a long and complex story, but they purchased the Mayflower ship. 102 passengers got on this ship and took 66 days to cross the Atlantic. That's an awfully long time to be sequestered on a ship. It was really hard. They hit a hurricane out in the middle there somewhere. They darn nearly lost it and sank, and it's a miracle they survived, but they survived. And in November of 1620, they pulled into what we would today call Cape Cod? The Cape Cod area, around about Provincetown. Provincetown? Yeah, Cape Cod. So, and then they did some exploration. And when they found this place that they decided to settle, of which there's a painting directly behind me and Connie here, they came ashore and they found on the shore skulls on the waterline. They found unburied skeletons. Something terrible had happened. And remember that the information they had was that there were 2,000 warriors in this place. Now there was nobody. Anybody ever hear of Squanto? Squanto was actually a Patuxet, and he was one of the very few survivors. And the reason for that is he'd either gone to England of his own volition, or he'd been captured and taken to Europe. There's controversy about that. But he spoke English, he liked the English, and remember, this is about gratitude. So think about the Indians who survived this incredible pandemic between 1616 and 1618. And just imagine losing 90% of your community. Think about your feelings, think about your emotions, right? It was a very, very difficult time for the Native American survivors. The Mayflower folks made it over intact, but when they landed, they did not meet any Indians. It wasn't a welcoming committee of Indians to say, welcome Englishmen. That happened in the spring, on the spring equinox of 1621. Instead, they came ashore. It was a mini ice age. It was incredibly cold. And the Mayflower could not get within half a mile of the beach because today it's dredged. There's a replica of the Mayflower. It's right there. But if you imagine on this journey coming up to the shore and you get to a certain point, you can't go any further because the water's too shallow. So if you're going to get ashore, you're going to have to walk, you're going to have to wade, you're going to have to carry your stuff. So everybody ended up getting soaking wet. In December of 1620, in the middle of a mini ice age, it was probably 15 to 20 degrees, if you're lucky. And as a result of that, plus scurvy or whatever, fully 50% of the 102 passengers died that first winter. Fast forward to the spring. On the spring equinox, all of a sudden, somebody walks into their little town. They built a little, with all of this, with half of them dying, and they had managed to cut down trees, build these buildings, these pretty little buildings. They're in the painting behind us. There's replicas of them, so we know them really well. And all of a sudden, this Indian wearing nothing but a loincloth, it's March 20, what's this equinox? 21st, walks in and greets them and says, welcome, Englishmen, in English. He turned out to be from Maine. He turned out to have known some English sea captains up there, and he had a little bit of English, not much. So what looked like a scary thing, and the guys, ran for there, had these old blunderbuss muskets, but everything was fine. He became the broker for what happened next. He negotiated with the local tribal chief, and he was the chief or sagamore or sachem of the Pokanoket people. He's known as Massasoit. Now, Massasoit's in fact a title. It's not his name. His name is Osamequin. Don't have to get that detailed. But they had made it through the spring. Half their people had died, including Connie's ancestral
13's grandparents.
Yeah. So imagine the emotional state of the pilgrims at that moment. They'd landed, they'd lost half their people. The Indians, who were about 42 miles away, they didn't live, nobody lived right there, had just lost 70, 80, 90% of their people. Just imagine the human emotional state that these people were in. Samoset was the man from Maine. He said, I'm going to go and I'm going to come back with another Indian who speaks much better English than I do. And we'll see if we can bring the local chief so we can sit down and have a conference. On the spring equinox, when did they sit down? On that same day?
Yeah.
Then Samoset must have come earlier.
He came earlier.
Samoset came 5 days earlier, okay. And because I was always thinking the 16th. Long story short, there's this little vestigial village that's now the beautiful little town of Plymouth, Massachusetts. It had 9 residences, a little fort that they'd been able to build, and a little meeting house that they used for their church meetings and their cultural conferences. On the spring equinox, all of a sudden, here they come. And it's Massasoit, the chief, with Squanto, the one who speaks English, and an estimated 90, in fact, all of his warriors, whatever he had, and we don't know that, before the epidemic, he was reduced to 90 warriors. And he had enemies over in present-day Providence, Rhode Island, who had 3,000 warriors because the disease didn't get that far. Think about his situation. He was desperate. He was heartbroken. He really needed something. And all of a sudden, this boat and these English people show up. And the English people had just lost half their people. Imagine this coming together where it was done in a friendly manner. They sat down, they spoke.
They kissed.
They, that classic English thing of, I take your hand and I kiss your hand and I bow to you. They did something like that, apparently, according to because this was all documented and written down by the English. Long story short, the Massasoit said, "You're welcome here," and a relationship began. And that was literally on the spring equinox of 1621, the first Thanksgiving, as we now call it.
That was a mutual protection treaty. They signed the 6-point.
There's six points, and it was mostly, you could call it a mutual protection treaty. If any of yours, and if you get into trouble, we're going to come help you. If we get into trouble, you're going to come help us. And a bunch of very, very simple little things, 6 points. And that little agreement held for 54 years, which is pretty darn interesting. So go from March 21st to sometime, when's harvest time? When's the harvest moon? And sometime in mid to late September, I would guess, is when the first Thanksgiving occurred.
Squantum had taught them how to plant Indian corn because they didn't know Indian corn. They were farmers and knew the land, but didn't know Indian corn, and he had taught them that.
Well, there was a technique that they used where they caught fish in the town brook and put these little fish in a mound, and the fish became the fertilizer for the corn as it grew. And as the corn grew, the beans grew up the corn. And then the squash put out these big leaves and sheltered the mound and prevented it from drying out in the sun. It was
the Three Sisters.
Genius, what's known as the Three Sisters. So that's the story, my friends. Here are these two groups who then came together for what turned out to be 3 days of festivities.
In the fall.
They had a good harvest. That first harvest was a good one. The next one was not, so the whole starving time happened later. But in the fall, probably September into October, somewhere in there, this festivity occurred. Massasoit and his 90 men came, and the Pilgrim folks and the Indians had this festivity together. And that is historic fact. There are a lot of other stories. There are a lot of things that are spread. There are a lot of very unpleasant things. And I would just, if any of you have those beliefs, just have a look at them and think about it. There's stories that and Mayflower descendants are ashamed of what they've been told their ancestors did to the Indians. None of that is true. There was a disease. It was between 4 and 2 years before the Mayflower landed. I want us to imagine the gratitude of these two groups coming together like that. It was a moment of gratitude. It wasn't called Thanksgiving. But everybody, the Indians had a harvest festival. In England, you have harvest festivals. In Holland, where they just come from, there were major harvest festivals. It's a normal thing for humans to give thanks to God for their abundance. Okay.
Yeah, sweet. So just the gratitude that was there, and just to touch base with that, and to be inspired by this coming together of these cultures in this amazing situation, and just for today, in this time of polarization and differences, to be inspired by the fact that these folks came together, and in fact they were spiritually aligned. The pilgrims were seeking this ability to relate directly to the divine, and that ultimately that we would have a society based on that. And that's what the native way is. The native way is the direct connection to the divine. And so we call this the spiritual beginnings of this nation. And it's just so important to bring in the native piece of this puzzle, because the whole native way is so important for the future of humanity. And we spend a lot of time bringing that forth, is their connection to the oneness and sacredness of all life. And the pilgrims were aligned with that, and gratitude for all that is. So we just want to be sure people have access to that inspiration, that time, because inspiration can take us to great heights, higher frequencies. Okay, so it's so key for the psyche of this nation, because when you're ashamed of your beginnings, you're in a lower vibration, a lower frequency. When you're inspired, oh my goodness, we did it once, we can do it again. Yes. And we can get to this high level of connection to the divine, and act from that place. So that's our process. We're in process, and we're doing a great job. And let's just keep at it.
Thank you so much. I want to comment, and I'm also going to read a couple comments. Mark Denisovsky writes, "This is the most detailed, legitimate Thanksgiving story I've ever heard. Beautifully told by Andrew and Connie. The sense of celebration is visceral." And AJ and Thomas write, "This was fascinating. Thank you." And I do appreciate the compassionate part of how the Mayflower people were so emotionally suffering, and the surviving Native Indigenous people were, so also suffering. So, two different cultures coming together in suffering, that really touches my heart. I have downloaded that short video. Does it make sense to still show it?
Well, if there's time, did you see the other one of Winslow and Donahue? I sent you that.
The one that I have, Connie, is what you sent me the link, Peaceful Times in the Plymouth Paradigm. That's the one that I've got ready to show.
Yeah,
Okay,
you can
good.
show that
Yeah,
one.
that'd be good.
Then that's taken, what's being spoken is taken from the diary of the Pilgrim people.
Okay, great. Here we go.
Wonderful.
We have found the Indians very faithful in their covenant of peace with us, very loving and ready to pleasure us. We often go to them, and they come to us. Some of us have been 50 miles by land in the country with them. Not only the greatest king amongst them, called Massasoit, but also all the princes and peoples round about us, have either made suit unto us, or been glad of any occasion to make peace with us, so that 7 of them at once have sent their messengers to us to that end. So that there is now great peace amongst the Indians themselves, which was not formerly, neither would have been but for us. And we for our parts walk as peaceably and safely in the wood as in the highways in England. We entertain them familiarly in our houses, and they as friendly bestowing their venison on us.
That's beautiful.
As an American.
No, keep it going.
It continues.
Please keep it going. Just
Sorry.
I just think it's a shame that days of our as an American Indian, and I look back at these days of our first history, I just think it's a shame that the Plymouth paradigm did not endure. The Plymouth paradigm, as I understand it, was based on the idea of sharing, and everything was inclusive. Indians were not left out. They were part of the process, and they felt free to make themselves part of the process.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you very much. Were you guys able to see that?
No, we did not see the image.
We didn't see Betty Donahue, but that's okay. You heard her message.
She's a Cherokee scholar who wrote a book on the Pilgrims and the Indians, and she really studied the linguistics. That's her focus, and really has a profound understanding. So she's a very positive. There's a lot of anger and a lot of misunderstanding, but she really loves and is like a peace promoter of this relationship.
Well, her book was Bradford's Indian Book. She actually shows the influence of the native people on William Bradford, who wrote of Plymouth Plantation, which is in fact the first literary piece of American literature. So anyway, there's that whole perspective of seeing the collaboration and what we call the first great synthesis between Europeans and the American Indian, and the giving birth to the American mind, spirit, and democracy. It's a big deal.
Thank you both so much. Of course, they've written a wonderful book. We put that link in, and I want to take people to the GoFundMe. Most of you know the story that they had $5,000 stolen from them. And so our goal is to raise $5,000. So many of our Global Peace Tribers have already donated. Thank you, Jerry and Dia. And oh my gosh, I mean, look at all the Global Peace Tribers.
Look how close we are. And I just want to thank everybody.
Yeah, talk about gratitude.
Gratitude and the attitude.
Gratitude to you, Scott, and to all who donated, and to all of this community. We love you so much.
We would be in severely dire straits if it weren't for your generosity and love. The bank is being very, shall we say, non-cooperative
with getting us the money back. So thank you. All you are and do, and your love for us.
A little bit more to get them over the top to that 5,000 mark. We're really close. And Ayana, the books are actually in the chat that they just put in. Connie and Andrews put it back in again. Thank you very much. We love you so much. And may you enjoy a beautiful Thanksgiving. And thank you for giving us that beautiful incentive. And I'm going to bring up our co-host, Tangela. Tangela, what stands out for you, and what you just learned from them?
Well, thank you so much. That was such a comprehensive story and focused on, just the camaraderie that's really at the roots of this holiday, and I think it's such a beautiful sharing, especially during this time, for us to remember that our nation does come, of course, there have been a lot of tragedies and wars, but, there have been times like the one that we celebrate still today when, we have come together to support one another from different backgrounds, different religions, different places, and really being able to, tell the story in this deep way is so beautiful. So thank you so much, Connie and Andrew, for sharing this beautiful story. I'm looking forward to diving in even further with this whole journey. So thank you so much. Beautiful.
Thank you, Tangela.
Thank you, Connie and Andrew. Well, our good friends, Thomas and AJ, have agreed to stay, do a little more channeling. I've got an initial question for you guys, and then if anybody else has questions, put them in the chat box right now. You had mentioned
before you do that, let us go in for a second, just so the guides can answer that question. Though I just have to make a quick observation, if it's okay, because the guides made this point earlier. Isn't that amazing how everything comes together? And none of us could have ever planned that, but that spirit's always working. It's interesting in that history, because the guides often talk about adversity as being something that we need not dread, and we need not fear, and we need not, grieve. because it's adversity that was a key ingredient in all that happened. And I really heard that in the story. And I just kept thinking about what the guides always say. So I'm glad my adversity is not that severe. Grateful. Mine is sometimes just being hung up in traffic or, much dumber things. But that adversity serves a purpose. It always is used to expand us. So I just had to make that observation. And now I promise we're just going to go in and let the guides.
Yeah, it was a
come in.
very important message for our times. So thank you.
Thank you for.
All right. I'm just going to take a deep breath. They're still here. They were the ones who made that point. We are ready.
Okay, well, you had mentioned in your opening comments about every day tuning in and raising our vibration. What are some practices and specific ways you suggest for us to do that?
Open your eyes and open your ears, for they surround you. We encourage you, and many of you become so busy, so preoccupied, that you do not take the moment to step outside and smell the wind, and to see the sun and let it hit your skin, to note the beauty that surrounds you. Note all these things in appreciation are what raise your vibration. And so we would begin by placing reminders, for this is what your guides are doing with you often. They're tapping on your shoulder, saying, look outside the window now. Listen to the music that is in the wind. All those things that you appreciate most are surrounding you, and you simply need to notice them.
Dear ones, this is the very reason why you are on a planet with such diversity, for we have placed so many things for you to pivot your attention. All of the high vibrations that are around you in nature and with your animals and with your loved ones, there for you to simply make the conscious choice. I choose something else in this moment. This is my power. This is my ability. And there is so much there for me to be grateful for, and so much there for me to appreciate. And there is so much more for me to strive toward.
You know that you have your emotions, which are indicators for you about the vibrational frequency that you are experiencing. And therefore, when your emotions are not positive, this is a sign, time for pivoting, time for me to turn my attention from whatever is preoccupying me and reducing my vibration, and instead focusing on so many of the things that are around you. Find a delicious piece of food and enjoy it. Allow yourself to step outside and see the beauty of the nature around you. You have many of these, and we simply encourage you to ask the question as often as you can. And as some of our friends write this on a paper so that they may see it while they're at work or while they are at their homes. And it simply says, what has my attention right now? This is a great way for you to determine yourself what your vibrational frequency shall be.
Wow. Okay. Ayada writes, and similar to a question that was asked earlier, but it's so important. So if you could clarify even more. Ayada asks, I would like to ask the guides for advice on how to respond to or deal with the highly polarized situation this country is in since the election and the anxiety.
Dear ones, we remind you that this energy is not yours. It is external to you. And we remind you the importance of always returning to your energy and your ability to make choices, returning to your conscious decision to turn up the vibration of your own frequency to the higher realms, always there for you. You must always ask yourself, what is my experience right now? What are my conditions? And be wary of going down the rabbit hole, as it were, as can be seen in those things you call entertainment, those very things that you call drama, for there is much drama around you at this stage, and it is a matter for you, again, dear ones, of transcendence, a choice of your willingness to participate in such drama, or to step back to claim your own sovereignty, your own I am, your own willingness to control your frequency, your circumstances, and your own vibration.
We remind you the power that exists within you, the power that allows you to determine the outcomes and to determine how you shall feel about any given thing. For polarity is the planet that you are on, and it shall not change. Even though you expand, even though you grow, you shall always live within a series of spectrums, positive and negative. You will always have cold as the opposite of hot. You shall always have soft as the opposite of hard. This is the world in which you have chosen to incarnate on. Was it done for the universe to create misery in you? No. We shall remind you that it was done for its expansive ability for you to recognize your own power. You have the ability to pay less attention and to choose which pole you shall be focused upon. This is your greatest gift, choice. The choice you have, for you are never forced to live on one side or another. You get to choose. And we encourage you to choose on which feels best, which brings joy. This always your ability, but do not fret that there is polarity. Instead, allow yourself to focus where your joy is found.
Thank you. So I have a question. How do we deal with it when people try to pull us into conversations or discussions that are polarizing?
My, how much I love the color of your shirt would be a good start. In other words, what we are saying to you is that there is always something that is of a higher vibration available to you at any moment. And it is exactly as we have discussed, your love of drama, your love of conflict, that sits at the seat of thinking. You must discuss what is not good for you, what is unhappy for you, what causes you fear. You spend a great amount of time, dear ones, talking about what you do not like and what you do not want. We would recommend instead that you regularly change the subject, that you regularly pivot, as we like to use this word, pivot, which means we turn towards a different direction of our attention. And you will find plenty for you to do this on. Yes, we appreciate your social norms, your inability to interrupt someone as they are ranting and raving about what they do not like. Yet even your chance to say, my, how articulate you are about what makes you miserable is a good start.
Indeed, dear ones, this is the transcendence of polarity we are speaking of, and the reference of the many diversities that are upon your planet. This is the task before you at this time, this level of personal mastery to take control of your own vibrational frequency, where you choose to focus and how you wish to respond.
It sounds difficult, yes? It is easier than anything you shall ever do. We encourage you to try it and see how you have the power to change the energy of any conversation. We also suggest that when an individual is resistant to looking towards the positive, it is perhaps time for you to step towards a different community, for there are many who wish to share with you in the joy that surrounds them.
I love that. Thank you so much. You made me laugh twice. So wise. Grace Denise asks, can we help others raise their frequency? Is this
You do so every day. You do so regularly. Watch and experiment by stepping out to a stranger, perhaps in a store, perhaps at a stoplight, and simply smile, a true, sincere smile of appreciation, and see the response. We know you expect for them to call the police on you. This is not the natural response, for you shall find quite the opposite. You can feel when another enters your space with a lower vibration, and how it makes you feel. And the opposite as well is true, beloveds. You can feel how when someone with a high vibration enters, they brighten the room. You have the ability to brighten the room. We suggested before interaction with other humans, allowing yourself to set that vibration high. For this is the light we speak of. And do you have full command over that light? And that light shall never fail.
Dear ones, note carefully what we speak of, for it is not your obligation to fix another or to change another. Note the reoccurrence of polarity, yes, but simply to be, simply to recognize your own frequency and your contribution of your frequency to your environment. And so, dear ones, as we often call you light beings, do your light work. Enable yourself to step into your very beingness, and where it comes naturally to you to complement. Again, oh my, what a lovely color shirt. Allow it to come forward. Allow your light to shine. And this is how you affect change.
No work in this, is there? No work at all.
This question from one of our people on Facebook asking, will there be a bifurcation, a time when the Earth splits into multiple alternate realities, or is that already happening?
You have moved dimensions multiple times throughout the history of your civilization, and you are moving dimensions now. This is what is often meant by a new Earth, for every time you expand dimensions, you are in fact able to find consciousness in areas that you were once blind toward. And so, as you expand in dimensionality, you suddenly are able to see what was unseen. This is a particularly important shift that is occurring for you now, and we ask you to see all of the signs of it occurring, for not just your world events, which are climbing towards a specific point. that will require resolution, will require new thought. But we are also suggesting you look at everything from your astrology, your numerology, for all of these are indicating to you the changes that are occurring right now. The question for you to ask is, what am I seeing differently? What am I noticing differently? Look for few but important clues. For example, look for the times in which you are able to see into the human in front of you and not see what they are wearing, what they are saying, what do they look like, or even what they're doing, but to see inside and to see that they are a living soul, that they have hopes and dreams and emotions. This is coming into your sight, and many more you are able to see it. You give it funny names. You call it psychic, or you call it empathic. And yet this is what we call human, expanded human. And there you shall see greater and greater change.
Dear ones, you do realize you are multi-dimensional beings capable of so much. And this ability you call psychic or empath, not available to a few, but available to all. Allow this emergence, allow this to come forward within you, allow your inner tuition as it were, and thus enable the shift into the multi-dimensional realms and the higher consciousnesses that are there before you at this very moment.
Beautiful. I think we're winding down. So, Tangela, do you have anything else you'd like to ask, or?
I think just as a final question, so I loved all of your tools and pragmatic tips for us moving forward during this time. What tips do you have for us for the holidays, for Thanksgiving as it approaches? How can we celebrate? What can we remember? And how can we move forward as a community?
We are fascinated by watching you celebrate. For some of you are in dread and others are in joy. What is the difference? It is not Aunt Maud or anything that she cooks. It is, in fact, your own disposition that determines how well you shall enjoy this period. For we speak often of the lack of power of obligation. It does not serve you well. And so you shall enjoy your holiday based upon what raises your vibration, without placing blame on or responsibility on any others, for you alone are the one who determines your joy. Therefore, we would encourage you to align as you enter holidays, remembering that this especially is a season of gratitude and love, of gifts. We remind you what a gift is. A gift is something that you have not earned. It is something that is freely given to you, regardless of what you have done or how you have done it. For anything else is not a gift. It is an exchange. It is an interaction. It is a piece of business. You have many gifts surrounding you that are impossible for you to earn. As you focus your attention there, you find the energy of this season always available to you, regardless of the time on the calendar, always there for you to enjoy. Yet it shall take your attention. It shall take your decision, your choice, to decide how you shall focus your energy.
Indeed, dear ones, and remember all of those experiences that you encounter, from the traffic jam to the delicious meal, all serves to expand you in ways both consciously and unconsciously. And so accept them with grace and love, knowing that they are before you for your greatest and highest good, not just the food for its nutrition, but the traffic jam for the opportunity to take time in contemplation.
It is essential for you to remember, as we have said and shall say often to you, about how deeply loved you are from the universe, that the universe is incomplete without you. Let this be part of your preparation, for then you are ready to receive the gifts the universe has for you, and they are many, though you may need to search for them. We remind you that the more you appreciate, the more things for you to appreciate appear for you. And so we do encourage you to keep a list, beginning perhaps with this season. Let us give you an example, for we remind humans often that your bodies were designed to experience pleasure. This is a part of your creation. Therefore, the deliciousness of many foods you will enjoy tomorrow, all throughout the season, were designed to give you pleasure. Focusing on any other aspect of them is a waste, perhaps, of energy, for these were designed for you to find delight, and that delight always available to you.
Think of this, think of all of this, think of the beautiful abundance, the beautiful harvest that is before you at any given time. So much for you, dear ones, in the recognition that you are loved, not just by your friends and families, but indeed by divine source itself. You are simply adored for your very beingness, dear ones.
We are not unaware of adversity. We are simply choosing not to focus our attention there. We encourage you to do the same. With this, we are complete.
Thank you so much.
Thank
you to the Awakening World community and the Global Peace Tribe for this opportunity to share these beautiful messages. It gives us great joy to be able to share the messages of the guides, and that is our mission.
What a gift.
And we encourage you all. Thank you so much. There is so much before you. I mean, it is so amazing to get this insight from the guides. And there is so much to look forward to, each and every one of you, if you are willing.
Yeah.
And so join us and the Global Peace Tribe, and form your communities and share your light.
Thank you, guys. I've brought up all of our presenters, Connie and Andrew and Heather and Mare and Omashar. We're going to have a closing Omashar song in a moment, but as we all are looking at you who presented tonight, I want to read what Ayada wrote. Sure, what a fabulous evening this has been. Thank you to all of our wonderful guests, both new and familiar, and the rich insights, information, and energy you shared. And she's thanking Omashar and I for the production. And we're all grateful that Omashar is back safe and sound. But let's all twinkle our wonderful presenters. And a big hello to all the people watching the recording, and all the people watching on YouTube, and all the people watching on Facebook. We love you, and you are in our awareness. I'm also going to bring up Maureen Edwardson. She was writing some wonderful things in the chat box. And Maureen, of course, has been on the show many times. She does powerful inner resonance technology. You can learn all about it by going to maureenedwardson.com. And thank you for a wonderful, wonderful show. And I've got a couple more announcements, but I'll do it after Omashar's song. So take it away, Brother Omashar.
All righty then. Well, we have to have a suitable backdrop for this one, so we'll go here. And thank you for the show. I love everybody on this show. And AJ and Thomas, you just warm my heart so much, expand my mind, and thank you for the direct communication that you brought forth tonight. You guys rock. And let's have a little bit of rocking now. I think I'm right. And let's went. Another dawn, another day. Innocent child coming your way. I've been wondering about my life. Oh yeah. Wondering about my state of mind. But then I heard, who is it for? If not for yourself, how do you feel? And why do you cry, 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 cry? Shooby-doo-wop. Whoa! The sun is warming up my mind. Ocean breeze blows me away. And yet still I've been wondering about my life. Oh yeah. Wondering who will take my place. But then I heard, who is it for? If not for yourself, then why do you cry? Cause who is it for? AJ, Thomas, if not for yourself. How do you feel? Yeah, Maureen. And why do we cry, 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 cry? So who is it for? If not for yourself, how do you feel? So come on, let's fly. Come on, let's fly.
One last twinkle as I go to gallery view for our beloved brother, our returning Omashar. Good to have you, my friend. Thank you so much.
That's fun, Scott.
Yeah, how blessed we are. We really are blessed to have you with us, Omashar. Thank you. Love that song. Love that song. All right, I do have some quick announcements that I didn't cover. Once a year, every year, Christian does a Sacred Solstice concert, and it's happening again this year, and it happens to be on a Saturday night. So just want to make sure everybody knows that on Saturday night, December 21st, let's all go to her online Sacred Solstice concert. It's being put on by Unity Earth. We are one of the sponsors. And it'll probably only be an hour, but I won't start the Awakening World until this is over. It is a different Zoom room. It's easy. Here's the Zoom room. You can just put it down, 606-000-1111, or go to Unity Earth or Unity Earth TV. You'll see it all promoted there, but put it in your calendars. And her concert starts at 5 o'clock Pacific time, 8 o'clock Eastern, 1 hour before we normally start the Awakening World. So just want to make sure everybody knows about that. And I also want to let people know.
What date is that again, Scott? Pardon me.
Sure. Saturday, December 21st. Saturday, December 21st. Yeah, thanks for asking. Then I also want to let people know we had talked about the possibility of doing kind of a conversation with John Kenyon and Katrina, and we just weren't able to work out a date. But John does a program every Friday night, and I want to encourage people to go to that. Every Friday night, he does Across the Aisle every other Friday and Mediating Your Life every other Friday. And if you go to johnkenyon.com, John, John Kenyon, KINYON.com, you can register for free and participate in these beautiful conversations that he hosts on Friday nights. So that's a wonderful thing to do. Also want to let people know that what we're going to be doing on Saturday nights. This is our show coming up this Saturday night. As you already know, we're going to have an hour with Heather doing pet psychic readings. Angel B, who's a wise soul and a good friend of mine, will be with us. The magnificent Zinka Caro, who gets people to bend spoons and to levitate and do all sorts of magical things. And there will be music and tarot reading with Rissa Vibes, who's a really, really cool lady. She's somebody that is new to our audience. And of course, Omar Shah and I will be with you with a theme of raising our consciousness through joy, play, and our fur family. So that's going to be this Saturday night. Okay, those are the announcements. Thank you, everybody. May you have a beautiful, beautiful day of gratitude. Let's implement the inspiration that Connie and Andrew suggested, the trust frequency that they teach, and certainly the wonderful wisdom that we received from Thomas and AJ. Let's definitely make sure that we are tuning in and blessing the water, if at all possible, tuning in on Friday at 10:11 a.m. Pacific time, 1:11 in the East Coast. And most of all, let's practice seeing the divinity in all. I see the divinity in each and every one of you, and what a blessing that is. Take care, everybody. Have a very beautiful day of gratitude, a happy Thanksgiving, and I look forward to seeing you on Saturday night. Take care, everyone.